For over 30 years, Bethesda Softworks has provided some of the biggest Western studio-developed games in the industry. The spotlight is on this studio right now to deliver Starfield, under the weight and pressure of their own legacy. Starfield is delayed nearly a year, and many are worried or even mocking that the space RPG won't live up to the hype. Massive improvements and upgrades are being implemented into Starfield right now, and this game is going to be the highlight of 2023. Brilliant! Today's sponsor is an excellent way to get an understanding of data that is integral to video game news and information, and is super helpful for my channel when breaking down those metrics. Today, you can get free access that'll make it easier to understand the metrics and data breaking down in hardware and software like we'll talk about today with Starfield. Courses like Order Logic have helped me to understand numbers and real-world associations instead of looking at numbers like hieroglyphics. Since I have an engineering background, courses like Nature is a Puzzle help me to break down complex physics exercises to take them into bite-sized pieces and learn at my own pace. Check out brilliant.org/Colteastwood today to get a free trial, and the first 200 listeners get 20% off an annual membership. Enjoying hundreds of math, science, and physics quizzes, courses, and exercises can help you achieve the goals in your work and in your life. Check out brilliant.org/Colteastwood. Bethesda, for over 36 years, has been spectacularly famous for Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and the team has millions of eyes on for the space RPG Starfield. In a game's roadmap of major titles coming, Starfield looks to be 2023's most talked about game and the most industry-affecting game, and coming exclusively to Xbox. Many questions, concerns, and complaints about Bethesda Softworks and Starfield have fans and anti-fans prone to hold the studio accountable, expecting bugs and an outdated engine, and disappointed on the heels of the latest Fallout 76. It's in fans' very nature to expect the worst, looking back from grim prospects and a general distrust under the banner, especially under the name Xbox. But the concern: Creation Engine is actually the solution, as major upgrades have been made to the engine, the pipeline, AI, physics, and visuals in Creation Engine 2.0, and its integral new add-on software packs specifically for Xbox Series consoles and PC. There is a magic that only Bethesda can deliver in their games, and this sets them apart from the biggest and most creative games. And in the RPG realm, this gives you more choice, more interaction, and most of all, more immersion with all of these mechanics combined. Let's talk about Bethesda and how the magic of Starfield will surprise, delight, and win over gaming fans. The first concern is the first thing that hit our eyes in the gameplay, and that is the visuals. One thing we'll discuss and explain here is the visuals and graphics. This is the first major AAA next-gen only game for the Xbox Series S and X consoles, and if it releases in summer of 2023, that puts us 2.5 years into the console generation. But Starfield, much like every other game released in the past 2 years, was mostly developed during the Xbox One and PS4 generation without the knowledge or full knowledge of the hardware targets we have today. Graphics are a stylistic choice and hinge partially on attention to detail or scope of visuals. Where some teams excel in areas of environment and some with characters, for Starfield they have to strike a balance of a massive world, a detailed world, and all under the constraints of the Creation Engine that, like Unreal, has been updated over the years, but lacks modern cutting-edge features we're waiting to see from Unreal Engine 5. But you'd be surprised. Creation Engine 2 has Havoc Engine lifelike animations for movement and fluidity. Upgrades have made it possible to add even more detail, natural shape, and realism to character faces and reactions. Look at the narrative characters, the models, detail, and animations in Creation Engine for Starfield. The facial structure, life brought to the faces under lighting, animated eyes, and expressions. This is a dying art in a world where most AAA games use full facial motion performance capture.
You sure?
Why not?
Because we got lawmen in 3 different states after us.
Last thing I want is to get us into trouble, but we need money.
Bethesda is using fully 3D modeled custom hand animated character faces with procedural lip syncing. so that Starfield players can interact with hundreds of NPCs up close and around the galaxy. Compare the face models of the same engine for Fallout 4 in 2015 of a very much last generation NPC, and you can see main characters in Starfield will be much more impressive, with subsurface skin textures, more lively eyes, and far more realistic detail in face formality, folds, and believability. Starfield's NPCs don't compete with some of the top tier games, but they are also not using any facial capture from real actors and actresses. Now, let's look at the mainline hallmark locations and interactions with this game world. Starfield has fleshed out outposts, cities, and faction-filled spaceports with bustling civilians and pirates to fill out the universe in Starfield with voice-captured dialogue, story, motivations, and quests that follow the Bethesda formula of multi-tiered quest lines, choice-driven RPG mechanics, and a feeling of a limitless exploration system. Radiant Software is proprietary to Bethesda and gives all NPCs purpose, a schedule, and tasks to complete whether you're watching them or not. In major cities like New Atlantis on Jemison, the bustling city will feel alive and lived in, with civilians being more than just a set dressing, and many or most of them interactive with dialogue and quests, hand-built or even hybrid procedural generated to make the faction interplay more lifelike. And only in a Bethesda game can you shoot a quest giver in the face and never see them again. The addition of Radiant AI in the creation engine will bring all of the RPG mechanics a cut above and the foundation for Elder Scrolls 6. The creation engine is about 10 years old, and after being built off of the Gamebryo engine with a portion of the source code, creating a distinct and separate new game engine that has been overhauled and updated to become Creation Engine 2 for Starfield. Radiant Software integrated into Starfield's Creation Engine 2.0 brings the game to life above and beyond what we saw from Fallout 4. An upgraded version of Radiant AI allows non-player characters to dynamically react and interact with the world around them. Radiant Story, another software piece of Creation Engine 2, allows for NPCs to dynamically create new quests for the player in unexplored places. Characters in Starfield will be more dynamic and volatile, as you can stay in their good graces by helping them with quests, or see them become the enemy immediately by betraying, stealing, or harming others in their faction. Radiant AI makes it possible for procedurally generated quests to feel natural. Combat is a major reward during exploration in Starfield. Bethesda has the backing of Machine Games, the talent behind Wolfenstein, for weapons handling, aiming, reloading, and grenade throws, mixed with strafing, running, and boost jumps added for the traditional well-loved first-person shooter mechanics. Gunplay in Starfield with a weapon wheel allows RPG fans to keep combat from hindering exploration and interaction, and best of all, keeping it uninterrupted. Updates to the UI and Creation Engine 2.0 shooting mechanics make on-foot combat very controllable and very satisfying. The outer space ship combat before it was shown was rumored to be rough and not fun according to a former developer, but this gameplay shows a more fluid, visceral pitch, yaw, and roll attack pattern, seen in some of our favorite space battle games. Todd Howard says they are in the finishing touches and polishing phase for Starfield, and the space combat has seen an incredible update and a well-needed improvement. New updates to Creation Engine 2 allow you to build your crew and build upon the entire world while gathering resources from planets and enemy frigates. The combination of immersive worlds, living, moving civilizations, multi-tiered quests, punchy combat on foot or in space, mixed with transformative RPG mechanics, perks, and abilities, and a world literally filled with dynamic objects that can be used to craft, upgrade, and build your settlement and custom ship, are only possible in the new overhauled and updated Starfield Creation Engine 2. And with full mod support on PC and Xbox, the possibilities are limitless. Starfield will be a robust, memorable, and the most talked about game in 2023. But its legacy and potential will live on for a decade with Bethesda's excellent DLC, user-created content mods, and plenty to keep us busy until Elder Scrolls 6 in 2026. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Let me take a second to give you my opinion about Bethesda games because Like me, I'm sure you have all had a bunch of experience in Bethesda games, and especially with big RPGs. Now, I have a lot of time in Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. I've beaten those games 3 or 4 times across Xbox and PC, and I really am excited for Starfield. One of the things that a lot of people aren't understanding with Bethesda, especially when they look at how the presentation looks. I don't like the muted colors. I don't like this blue, grayish, overcast overtone like we see in Control, Quantum Break, and now Starfield. Before I talk about the immersion, let's talk about the graphics, because the graphics aren't the top tier of all of the major games that are being talked about, like Red Dead Redemption 2, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, or Spider-Man. You can even throw in Forza Horizon in there as some of the top tier visuals, as well as Gears of War 4 and 5. But this is different. This is a major scope. And when you get into a Bethesda game and you're playing an RPG like this, the immersion is something that cannot be replaced. You are in the world. You are interacting with thousands of objects, hundreds of NPCs, hundreds and hundreds of different quest lines and different activities. The games really pull you in, and it's so important. And I'm so excited for Starfield, because that's going to be one of the most talked about games of 2023. Breath of the Wild 2 for Nintendo is probably going to be one of the most popular games of 2023, but looking at Starfield, an open opera Western RPG that's even bigger in scope than even my favorite Mass Effect, it will be one of the most talked about games, and I can't wait until we're all diving in. It's going to be such a good time, and Bethesda knows how to deliver, except for Fallout 76. If you ended up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new content. And if you want to further support the channel, and it's super important, you can join the channel membership below or become a Patreon. Either of those are really affordable and get you early access to videos if you want, but you also get entered into monthly merch giveaways where you can pick the item of your choice, like this Control Your Life shirt that I really like. Also, if you want to hear more in-depth discussion about everything you hear on this channel, every Monday night is the Ecstasy Podcast with my co-host from Game On Daily, Gaz. And we will talk about all the latest news and dive into these subjects even further, and you'll get to hear a lot about what's coming and what is being predicted. But I want to know what you think about Starfield. Where are you sitting? What's that Metacritic score going to be like when it launches? And what are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comment section. And as always, there will be people there that don't like Xbox, that are mad that they have a really bad 2022. There will be arguments, there will be fights, there will be name calling, but please remember, as always, be nice.